Don't you dare, ref. That's he got the ball. Good morning, Tottenham fans all across the world, and happy Sunday morning to you all. Like the great Lionel Richie once said, easy like Sunday morning. Hopefully you've had a good morning, and hopefully that extends all the way through to this evening, because we do have a game at the unusual time of 7 p.m, and it's been moved because of broadcasting rights, but we do travel down to Southampton, to the coast, and return to the scene of the crime from Antonio Conte, where he absolutely ripped the arse out of this football club, putting absolutely everybody on blast. Some would argue we're in similarly eerie times. Could we get the same from Postecoglou tonight if the results don't go our way? However, it's worth noting we are under pressure. Postecoglou, for me, has thrown the last dice any manager will ever want to do, which is call out his players publicly. Now, this will go one of two ways. They'll either not try a leg this evening, or he will get the reaction that he's looking for by doing it. But nonetheless, one win in eight is nowhere near good enough, and we need to get the win today. Now, we are down to bare bones, so it does throw a bit of a headache for Postecoglou, especially off the back of his words. So his lineup will be very interesting. Does he stick with some of the players like Werner and others that he called out in his press conference, or does he go with some of the younger members of the squad? So let's get into it. The lineup that I think Postecoglou is going to choose, and we will start in goals. Fraser Forster, I think, will retain his place here. I think the only time you might see him come out is the third round FA Cup game against Tamworth. Apart from that, he'll be in goals until Vicario is back, and he was absolutely sensational the other night. Pulled off 5 crucial saves, one of them right at the death against Cyril Dessers to earn us that point, and without him we would have took a heavy defeat on the night. Does return to his former club tonight, and hopefully he can put in a performance to match. At left back, I think we've left with no other choice but to continue with Destiny Edozie. We just really need to hope he can hold out until we get to that transfer window to try and bring in cover to alleviate the amount of pressure that we're putting on this young kid. Defensively, he has been pretty poor this season, but when I've gone back and looked at it, I think he's been really let down by whoever plays at that left wing. It's usually Son or Timo Werner, and neither one of them want to get back and try and track back and help him out. When the guy is routinely being exploited and they're doubling up on him, that's where he needs his teammates to get back, help out, and they're just simply abandoning that duty. And I do think it comes a point where Destiny Edozie also needs to open his mouth now and start screaming for them to get back, put the pressure on them. Over at right back, Pedro Porro dropped an absolute stinker against Rangers on Thursday evening, and it was a really inexcusable display, and the more we keep putting him out there, the worse he's getting. It's clear the guy is fatigued. Postecoglou needs to stop hesitating now and bring in Jed Spence at right back. I think if he goes with Pedro Porro again, it could become costly. We're seeing the guy make uncharacteristic errors on the ball, and that for me is down to exhaustion. With Jed Spence, hopefully he gets the start here. If not, I'm sure he will get an opportunity off the bench, and it's just about him coming in and taking it. But I'd argue when we've seen him pre-season and that cup game off the bench where he saved Postecoglou's career earlier on in the season, he's took the opportunities. Now, a lot of people are going, why hasn't he played before? He's had a long-term groin injury this season so far. He's only coming out the end of it now, so hopefully now that he is fit and ready to go, Postecoglou elects to choose him. At centre-back, no good news in the press conference. Mero and Van de Ven out long-term. Won't see them until the new year. The only good bit of news to come out of it was that Ben Davies is due back before the new year, and I never thought I'd say this, but please get back quickly. When it comes to Radu Dragusin and Archie Gray, I've probably got it wrong here. They'll probably switch like they did against Rangers. Radu Dragusin will go on the left and Archie Gray will go on the right side. Now, I thought they'd done as good as they can against Rangers. You know, they're a partnership that are not used to playing with each other. You're pulling a centre midfielder into centre-back. And to be quite frank, I think Archie Gray done quite well the other night, actually. You know, playing at centre-back, he strikes me as a player that's got a great footballing brain. I think when you put him in any position, he's going to be one of them players that can fill in and do a job. However, I think in the future, the fact that he's played all across this back line, it will help him as a CDM, because it's something that Ajax do. They do get their players to play in multiple positions, so when they do play in their favourite position, they know what is expected of everybody else in every position, where they need to be, what they're looking for and stuff like that. So I think ultimately in the long run, it will actually serve Gray very well. Now, a couple of times in the Rangers game, he did try and play out from the back. I love him taking on the responsibility at 18 years of age, but he just needs to be a bit more assured and a bit more tidy with his passing. Some of them he gave away and put us under a bit of pressure. As for Radu Dragusin, I thought he was absolutely sensational on the day, covering all across the centre-back, really covering Archie Gray, getting in there, winning headers, stepped up, took on the responsibility, and he's going to need to do the same here again today. Now, to alleviate the pressure, hopefully we can push Southampton back, play the game in their half, and give these guys a nice easy afternoon. Moving into the midfield with Rodrigo Bentancur with his long-term suspension, and he's Basuma picking up a yellow card against Chelsea, means due to accumulation of yellow cards he's also unavailable for today's game, which leaves Postecoglou with a bit of a headache. Who do you play to anchor this midfield? Now, for me, I would go with Papa Maddison. I think he's got all the attributes, and he's one of the only players right now out of the options that I would actually trust to sit in there. Maybe Archie Gray would be the other alternative, but he's needed at centre-back. So for me, it's got to be Papa Maddison. I think long-term, this is a position that if any manager sees it and gives him his opportunity to really shine, learn and develop, I think he can be one of the world's best in this position. He's got an unbelievable reading of the game, Papa Maddison, and that's shown in the midfield by getting the amount of tackles that he makes, turning over the ball. That's not just industrious and work rate, that's also great reading of the game, anticipating where the ball's going to be. So for me, I think he'll suit this role. And also in possession, we've seen him play them lovely long balls over the top for Sonny to get going in behind and stuff like that. So I think he's also got the passing ability in the passing range to be able to play here. Some would argue maybe put Bergvall in there. He's been good off the bench in recent weeks, came off the bench there against Rangers and played well. However, when you've got Archie Gray as your centre-back, and if you're bringing in Spence at right-back, I think it's too much of a gamble. I would prefer to have Papa Maddison there for a bit more of an insurance policy. Now, how does the rest of the midfield look? Well, I think if you're bringing Papa Maddison back into the six, one thing he usually gives you is he gets up behind the strikers, turns that ball over, and the only other option we have available to pick up that slack is Dejan Kulusevski. So for me, he has to drop back into the engine room here and give us that physicality, that work rate, and that ability to turn the ball over. Now, he has been our best player this season. When you look at the interviews and the stuff he's coming out and saying, he's the only one at such a young age showing any sort of leadership through this situation, routinely talking about the need, the desire, the hunger to do the right thing, show energy, show fight in this situation, and he exemplifies that on the pitch. Against Rangers the other night, he came on, created 3 chances, more than any other player on the pitch, despite having left time, and scored a goal. He scored 2 now in his last 2, finishing what has been a recent criticism aimed at him, which I think has been quite fair. Hopefully now 2-2, he's starting to get it, that he needs to, in order to take that next level, he needs to score goals on a regular basis, and his ability has that. So we're looking yet again for another performance, massive performance from Kulu Messi. Now, how do we complete this midfield? Again, there's been massive cause for someone like Lucas Bergvall to come in here. Postecoglou said in his press conference that he is in contention to start, and he will get minutes, whether that's from the start or off the bench. Now, I know Bergvall was due to start against Rangers. However, he was ill, and that's why Postecoglou made the decision he did in the end. And then you've got James Maddison, who, quite frank, wasn't the worst player on the pitch against Rangers. But it's a game that I look at. Rangers are play at a complete different intensity in a complete different league. Maddison is at one of the best clubs in world football. He's not dominating games the way he should be. In that game against Rangers, he should be walking around, cocking a walk. Nobody should be able to get near of him. Get on that ball. You know, display all of his attributes, his passing range, his shooting range, you know, the ability to be able to thread balls through the eye of a needle. And quite frankly, he just doesn't do enough in that midfield. He's too up and down. However, saying that, I think we have to go with the experience in this game. Hopefully, Maddison will be on form and will fancy this game. But for me, I'll give him the first 45. If he's not pulling his weight, I'd haul him off, and I'd have no hesitation bringing Bergvall straight back in. Now, into the forward line, and we will start at left wing, and it will be our captain's son, who, quite frank, has been way below par this season, nowhere near good enough. You know, we're seeing uncharacteristic things from Son. Usually when he gets the ball at his feet and gets his fullback one-on-one, he's explosive. He absolutely rips him apart with deadly end product to match. We haven't seen that from him this season, or anywhere near enough that we usually are. And it's not good enough. But the biggest thing for me with Son, I don't know about anybody else, let me know how you feel in the comments, But I was looking at him the other night, and he just looks completely disinterested right now. When he got the ball the other night, he done bare minimal effort with it. When you're looking at him to hold the ball, can't do that. He keeps coming back. But the biggest thing for me was out of possession. You know, you look at Dom Solanke when he's up front, works his nuts off, goes with conviction, goes with intensity and belief that he's going to force that error. And more than often or not, it actually works out in Tottenham's favour. Some was jogging to players the other night. You know, they were just popping the ball around them. And when he's your captaincy and he's showing that sort of body language, you know, out of possession, sometimes you see him walking around, moping around, head down, shoulders slouched, stuff like that. When that's your captain, you've got serious problems, because when you're any other member in the squad, you want to look at your captain. You want to see him up like that, chest out, ready for the fight, barking at others, you know, demanding that ball, looking to dictate that game, looking to be the guy to navigate you out of the situation that we're currently in right now. And Son just does not have that in him. And I think, you know, what chance have we got for anybody else to step up to the mantle if we're looking at Son and that's what he's providing? Nowhere near good enough. Son really needs to take a long, hard look at himself and change that body language and actually realise, as a captain, in moments like this, body language means absolutely everything. And right now he looks disinterested. What I will say is he needs a massive performance and could really do with a goal. He scored 10 goals against Southampton in his career, 4 under Jose Mourinho, and that hiding we gave them. We need something similar today from our captain. Now, on to right wing. And it will be Brennan Johnson. Quite frank, if we had other options, I would have no problem putting him on the bench. I think away from home, you cannot rely on this kid. You go back to Bournemouth and you go back to Rangers. Anytime we're looking for that out ball, he's standing in behind the fullback, doesn't really want to know, and he's not dropping deep, coming, looking for that ball. Anytime the ball goes to him, he cannot hold it up, it breaks down. And when it does get to him in the final third, he often turns back, playing it backwards to others, looking for them to take on the responsibility, and it is not good enough from Brennan Johnson. Our centre-backs take more risk on the ball than our right winger does. Let that sink in. That's alarming. He had 3 opportunities the other night to play crosses into the box from good positions with overlaps running in there, and he refused every single time, passing it backwards. Our midfielders and our centre-backs, our full-backs, are trying to get the ball to the winger for them to make something happen. And when it does, he's just passing it back and going, no, you do it. Not good enough. The kid is hiding right now in the tough times for Tottenham. And out of possession, the kid just does not want to know you. We've seen that all season long. Doesn't want to get back and help Porro out at right back, which is causing us huge issues. But also out of possession. You see Solanke press, others press, and often Johnson is there jogging 10 minutes late on the press, and he's allowing them to play out. If we had other options, I would park his ass on the bench. He is jogging around. We need players that are going to sacrifice themselves, put every ounce of energy out there, and I don't think the kid does. He almost only saves himself for when the ball's coming down the left-hand side and he makes that initial sprint to be able to get on the end of it and put the ball in the back of the net. Useful attribute to have, don't get me wrong. But anyone can rock up into a game and have one special moment. It's what you do consistently to affect games throughout the rest of the game. And to be honest, if I'm his teammates, I'm getting really, really frustrated. It's like, we're creating stuff for you. What are you doing for us? I'll be really frustrated with him. He needs to have a bloody massive game and a reality check and an attitude check. And now that brings me up to the guy up front, and it will be big Dom Solanke. Now, I think Postecoglou made the wrong decision leaving him out of the starting lineup the other night. When he's not up front, the ball just keeps coming back one way. If Werner Johnson's son, neither of them can hold up the ball, and neither of them want to go and work on it either. You know, when they've experienced that in a game, the first thing I would do is go, oh, well, I'm going to have to work on that so that when I encounter that again, I've got the solution. None of them seem to want to do that. But it's none of their games. They all want the ball in behind. So that was another part of our problem. When you don't have a guy to hold up the ball, this system doesn't work because the ball just keeps coming back at you, puts you under pressure, and the inevitable happens. So Dom Solanke is absolutely crucial. If he's not fit, I'm sorry, you just got to go with Will Lancashire from this point out and look for that guy to be able to hold up the ball and have that focal point up from. Dominic Solanke, he gives us a foothold in the match. Now, Southampton have consistently created problems by themselves from playing out the back. Their manager is a bit like Postecoglou. His refusal to change. Southampton have made the most errors leading to goals out of anyone else in the Premier League this season. And this is why Dom Solanke is absolutely crucial for tonight's game. His work rate and relentless pressing will be absolutely crucial for us in turning that ball over higher up the pitch and creating chances, but also helping us keep ourselves camped in Southampton's half, which alleviates the pressure on the back end. He's on form, 1 goal and 1 assist in his last 2 games. Hopefully he can continue that here. Now, in recent weeks, everybody seems to be going after the back line. For me, I think you've got to start going after this forward line. They've had more than enough chances before the problems arrived later on in games to be able to kill games off, and they have not done it. They really need to step up today and deliver and take the pressure off that back line. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on things I've had to say. Give me your team selection and your reasons behind picking them. And give me your score prediction. Smash the like button on your way out. It helps us out absolutely massively here in terms of fighting that algorithm. It's always David V. Goliath. I'm David and we like to win. Guys, I'll see you back here at 3 p.m. today for the pre-match build-up for the big game tonight, where we are under pressure as a football club. Postecoglou has rolled the last dice, which is calling out players publicly. Let's see how it all unfolds tonight. Guys, see you soon. Come on, you Spurs. In the big hands I still trust. We never stop.